Welcome to today's lesson. It's on producers, consumers, and decomposers. This is a physically active lesson, so be ready to get up and move. Today, we will see what you know about producers, consumers, and decomposers. Let's do a quick review. A producer is an organism that can make its own food. When we think of producers, we think of plants, things like grass or seaweed. They get their nutrients from the sun to produce their own food. A consumer is an organism that feeds on other organisms to get nutrients. Consumers may eat plants or other animals. Some examples of consumers are foxes, dolphins, and rabbits. A decomposer is an organism that feeds on dead or decaying organisms to get its nutrients. Decomposers help break down dead organisms. Things like worms, mushrooms, insects, and bacteria are examples of decomposers. One more thing. You will have to know the difference between terrestrial and aquatic. So, remember, terrestrial means lands, and lands come in many forms. And aquatic means water, and there are a lot of varieties of types of water. Here's our first question. Which of the following would be an example of a terrestrial producer? Is it grass or lily pad? If you believe that grass is the correct answer, you will stand up and do cross crawls. If you think it's lily pad, you will stand up and then do lunges. Ready? Go. The correct answer is grass. Grass is an example of a terrestrial producer. It is on land and it gets its nutrients from the sun to produce its own food. Here's our next question. Which of the following would be an example of an aquatic producer? Algae or flowers? If you think it's algae, you're going to stand up and do jumping jacks. If you think it's flowers, you're going to stand up and do squats. Ready? Go. The answer is algae. Remember, algae is an aquatic producer because it is found in the water. It gets its nutrients from the sun and it produces its own food. Take a look at these two environments. In which of the following environments would aquatic producers live? Land or water? If you think it's land, you're going to do dabs. If you think it's water, you're going to jump in place. Ready? Go. The answer is water. Aquatic means water. Jumping in place was the correct exercise. Take a look at these three pictures. Which of the following is not an aquatic producer? Seaweed, marine phytoplankton, or moss? If you think seaweed is not an aquatic producer, you're going to do crab kicks. If you think marine phytoplankton is not an aquatic producer, you're going to do sky punches. And if you think moss is not an aquatic producer, you're going to do arm circles. Ready? Go. The answer is moss. Moss is a terrestrial producer because it is found on land. Which of these is a terrestrial consumer? The chipmunk or the octopus? If you think it's the chipmunk, you're going to do mountain climbers. If you think it's the octopus, you're going to do a plank hold. Get ready and go. Okay, you can stand up. The answer is chipmunk. So hopefully you were doing mountain climbers. Which of these is an aquatic consumer? The owl or the whale? If you think it's the owl, you're going to do arm circles. If you think it's the whale, you're going to do toe touches. Ready? Go. The answer is whale. So toe touches was the correct exercise. Which of these is an aquatic consumer? Seaweed or minnow? If you think it's seaweed, you're going to do squats. If you think it's minnow, you're going to do lunges. Ready? Go. The answer is minnow. Seaweed is an aquatic producer. Which of the following is a decomposer? Is it seaweed, mushrooms, or grass? If you think the decomposer is seaweed, you're going to do crab kicks. If you think the decomposer is mushrooms, you're going to do sky punches. And if you think the decomposer is grass, you're going to do arm circles. Ready? Go. The answer is mushroom. The other two choices are producers. The next few questions are on food chains. Remember, a food chain shows the feeding relationship between living organisms. It shows how energy flows in an ecosystem. An example of a food chain is on the right-hand side of the screen. Food chains begin with producers. Where do producers get their nutrients to make their own food? From the sun or from the moon? If you think it's the sun, you're going to do jumping jacks. If you think it's the moon, you're going to do mountain climbers. Ready? Go. The answer is sun. Which of the following would happen if part of the food chain was to go missing or become extinct? The food chain would fix itself, or the food chain would break and no longer exist. If you think the food chain would fix itself, you're going to do squats. If you think the food chain would break and no longer exist, you're going to jump in place. Ready? Go. If part of the food chain goes missing or becomes extinct, the food chain will break and no longer exist. Take a look at this food chain. What is missing in this food chain? It's either missing a decomposer, a consumer, or a producer. Let's see what we have. We have the sun. We have a cricket. We have a frog. We have a snake. We have an eagle. And we have mushrooms. So what is missing? If it's a decomposer, sky punches, consumer, crab kicks, producer, cross. I'll give you a moment and then I'll reveal the answer. We are missing a producer. The cricket has nothing to feed on. There are other consumers like the frog and the snake and the eagle, and then there's the mushroom for the decomposer, but we are missing the producer. That's all. Thank you for participating in this active lesson. I hope you have a fantastic day.